what I wanted to talk about, guys, was my top 2 reasons, or however many reasons I happen to come up with while I'm talking, but my top 2 reasons, um, basically for becoming a successful trader and building a bankroll, starting from virtually nothing. All right, so I've been doing this now full time for well over a year, and I basically started a little bit over 2 years ago now with $1,000 I borrowed off a credit card, of all things, right? So now, I recommend you borrowing money on your credit card to get involved in trading? Absolutely not. However, it is what I did, and it's just fact. So what I wanted to talk about specifically was a few of the things that were a benefit to me in order to be able to actually be successful doing that. Whereas a lot of other people may not have the same idea that I do. And it has to come down to more or less expectations, right? Certain people have different expectations for, their quality of life, the income they want to attain, the amount of money that they want to spend on whatever fun things you like to do, and things like that, right? So the top actually 2 things that ensured or gave me the best chance of success, all right, was number 1, right, was I have really low expenses, and I still have very low expenses, okay? Now, like, I'm a single dude. I don't have a family. I understand if you have a family, you probably need a little bit of a bigger house, with a couple more bedrooms and maybe a second bathroom, and you got a wife and you need to make sure she's happy. Otherwise, your life ain't gonna be happy, right? So maybe this one's more difficult for you than it was for me. But for me, it was very, very important that I had low expenses. Okay, guys, I live in a small bungalow, and I don't even have a basement under my house. Okay, that's kind of the gist of it. I mean, the main floor is like 900 square feet, which is a good size for a little shitty bungalow, right? But I mean, there's a little loft on top that used to be an attic, and there's no basement. There's not even a freaking poured foundation under my house, right? So there's that. I mean, I do have a garage with like $100,000 of equipment in it. Fine. But I got a really good deal on the property, okay? So I bought this house for $88,000, and that's Canadian dollars. All right, for you guys in the States, that'd be, I don't know, maybe like 55 or 60,000 US, given today's exchange rate. So I bought a really cheap house, and it's good for me as a single guy. I did have a live-in girlfriend for many years, and now I'm back to being single. Fine. But my expenses are really, really low. Like, my mortgage and taxes all in is about $575 a month. Okay? That's it. Right? And then you got your bills on top. Like, my power is expensive as hell. I spend $250 to $300 a month on power. But you guys got to figure over here and over here. I have 3 tower computers that run 24/7. I have a crypto miner that is now turned off, but it was running for like the last year. So I do spend a lot of money on power, and plus my woodworking shop, which I'm not really actively running as a business, but I still use it quite frequently, and every time you go there and turn the power switch on, just bank on paying $5 or $10, right? Fine, whatever, I love it. But that's my most expensive bill, is my power cost. But like mortgage and taxes in, like I say, $575 a month. I spend maybe $300 a month on power. I spend another $100, maybe $150 a month on heating in the wintertime. In the summertime, it's like $30 a month, because the only thing I have that runs on gas other than my furnace is my hot water heater. And then, you got your internet, your cell phone, all your bills included. Guys, on $1,200 a month, I pay all my bills. Everything's paid on $1,200 a month, okay? Then I just got to eat and all that. So, guys, if all I need is $2,000 a month, and I get by. I'm not getting by rich, but I'm getting by, okay? And that's been an asset to me, because specifically, sometimes the markets don't go your way. Sometimes you make shitty calls, right? Sometimes, trades just go against what you thought they would do. Sometimes you make money, sometimes you don't make money. It's a very, very high-risk game. So when you're playing a high-risk game, you need to be able to survive in the down times, right? It's like, it's much the same as maybe you have a job, right? I see Franklin jump on here. Frank, he's a truck driver. He owns his own truck, right? And he only owns one truck. Of all things, try running a frickin' trucking company when you own one truck. what happens when your truck goes down? Frank, what happens when your truck is in the garage? One, you're spending money, right? And second, you're not earning any money in order to afford to spend that money, right? So you need to have a bankroll. You need to have some money in the bank so you can afford to live, you can afford to pay your bills, and you can afford your truck repairs while your truck is off the road, right? Every time you need a set of tires, every time you need oil filters, every time, whatever the case may be, right? You need to have a bankroll in order to survive for the time that your main business operation is not capable of generating a revenue. Right? And that's much the same in trading, okay? I made a lot of shitty calls, and if you look at my wall, if you guys scan the entire history of my wall, there's a lot of very beautiful calls, but you guys are going to see a lot of really, really, really shitty calls. And there's a reason I've been quiet in the last little bit is because I didn't want to ruin other people's lives, okay? So it's very important that you have a bankroll that you can draw from in order to survive on the downtimes. So having low expenses makes that bankroll last so much longer, right? So it's nothing for me. Like, if I don't make a good trade for 6 months, I'm still not starving. I'm still getting by, right? Whereas earlier this year, there's a few months in a row where I was pulling out $10,000 a month, right? And that was great. Like, I paid down a ton of credit cards that I've been accumulating for the last 10, 12 years, right? I paid down my truck. I put a bunch of money on my mortgage. I bought a whole bunch of really cool toys for my place, including a server over here, a bunch of stuff in my truck, a bunch of woodworking stuff, more monitors in order to do my thing here, right? I bought a lot of toys, don't get me wrong, and it was really nice to be able to live off of that high income. But fact of the matter is sooner or later, you're going to start making shitty calls again. You're not going to be making the same amount of money. So it's very fortunate for me that I can live off of a low amount of money, so I can live on a low income or no income for a very extended period of time while I'm waiting for the market to do something so that I can generate an income again. So that is very, very important, and not just in trading, but I would say virtually in any business, you need to make sure that you have a bankroll to survive. Now, the other asset that I think is great in order to ensure success, especially in trading, but also in other forms of business, but like I say, especially in trading, is to not have emotional attachment to your money, okay? If you have emotional attachment to your money, then you're going to make bad decisions, all right? We do not make good decisions when we're experiencing emotions, all right? Like, look, when you're angry at your wife, usually the first thing you do is you yell at her, you call her a bunch of four-letter words, and it's not helping your relationship. Now, it's the same thing with your money. When you're angry with your money, or you're angry with your business, or you're angry with your cash flow or anything like that, and you get emotional over it, right? You're going to start flying out a whole bunch of four-letter words. You're going to be angry. You're going to make some really horrible decisions, right? And you're going to try to find things to blame, or you're going to make rash decisions, or you're going to start revenge trading, you know, which is like the same as going to the casino and sitting down at the blackjack table, and you lost 5 hands in a row, so you're like, hell with it, I'm just going to go all in, right? Well, you go all in, you lose your 6th hand in a row, and now you're done, right? Well, it's the same thing in trading. You just can't do that. You know, you have to look at every trade you make according to the same trading plan that you've written down and stick to it and not think about it emotionally, right? The object in trading is to make correct trades based on your trading plan, okay? And if your trading plan is correct, your trading plan is accurate, then over the longer period of time, if you're trading for 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 8 months, a year, 2 years, then over the longer period of time, you should have a greater income than expense in trading if your trading plan is correct. Now, when you end up in a situation where you're noticing over an extended period of time that you're losing money, then maybe you need to reevaluate your trading plan. But if you have a solid trading plan that follows your solid rules for whichever patterns or indicators that you prefer to follow, then over the long period of time, you should be generating more income than you're putting out in losses, right? Much the same as like a professional gambler, much the same as any professional business owner, or like a truck driver, or somebody with a trucking company like Frank that jumped on here. And the reason I'm using him as an example is because I clearly remember commenting on his post once when his truck was down in the garage, and of course he's flipping out because he can't make money. A truck driver only makes money when the wheels are turning, especially if you own the truck. if you don't own the truck, maybe you're lucky enough to get paid by the hour. Otherwise, you screwed, right? So basically, guys, that's it. All right, that's my top 2 tips for finding some success and being able to build a bankroll as a trader on financial markets, and especially with my experience in crypto markets. I don't care what kind of markets, doesn't make a difference. My experience is crypto markets. I don't care if you do Forex, stock trading, whatever. Same thing, okay? Virtually same thing with some minor deviations into your fundamental analysis, but virtually the same thing, okay? So that's my top 2 tips, guys. I just give me 1 second here. I'm going to stop my recording, and then I'll be happy to take some questions on the Facebook chat here.